When I started playing Rocket League 10 years ago, I thought that copying pro settings was the move. Turns out some of those settings shortcuts I took actually held me back for years. So today I want to save you the pain, or hopefully inform you before it's too late, about the top 5 settings mistakes I have made over my last 4,000 plus hours of playing Rocket League. OGs will know number 1, but we will start with number 5, only using joystick air roll. Okay, so I know this is a little bit of a controversial subject. There's like a small group of, I'll just say it how it is. There's a small group of unks or boomers, or think of it as my Facebook audience. By the way, love you guys, that are convinced air roll left or air roll right are not important in Rocket League. I think this is a pretty baseless argument, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need air roll left or air roll right if you're trying to compete at any sort of high level in 2025. Let me explain what I mean. So in Rocket League, there are 2 types of air roll. You have your joystick air roll. This is what's called free air roll. Some people call it free air roll. It's the button that you have to push your joystick to activate. So if you go into the settings here, it's the one right below power slide. I have it as R1. So you see this button, I have to hold R1 and press a direction to make my car move. Conversely, there are the directional air rolls. These were added in 2016, 2017. And what I'm talking about is air roll left or air roll right. If you scroll down in your settings, you'll see these 2 buttons. Now, the big difference between air roll right, minus circle, and air roll left, square, from free air roll or joystick air roll, is that with the directional air rolls, that just means air roll left or air roll right, you only have to press 1 button. So I press air roll left and I start spinning left. I press air roll right and I start spinning right. Whereas with the joystick air roll, I have to press a direction, otherwise this spinning doesn't happen. This is super important because it unlocks your joystick. So because you only need 1 button to press air roll left, you can swivel your joystick. Previously, if you have like air roll and you're just using free roll and you try to push forward on your joystick, your car doesn't roll. It just moves forward. The only way to get it to spin is if you do left, or you can do like a little bit up left, a little bit forward right, but you're much more limited. And so this air roll left, air roll right input has been proven to have a ton of utility on things like your extended air dribbles, your recoveries, and it just allows you to move faster in the air because you can pitch and tilt your car at the same time. There are tons of other benefits, like how when you're spinning, you don't build angular momentum. So like if you see I try to go forward and back without spinning, I have this like sort of seesaw effect, this delayed slow aerial, and that's what makes it like super hard to do joystick air roll on air dribbles. Like you can do it, it's just very limited. And this is one of the major reasons why pros hold down air roll left, hold down air roll right, and we spin in the air. The TLDR is if you don't have air roll left or air roll right bound, you're going to be severely limited when you hit a certain rank. You know, for some people this happens in Diamond, for some people this happens in Champ, for some people this doesn't happen till Grand Champ. But there's really nobody that competes at my level. For those of you who don't know, I'm peak GC3 and currently GC2. Like, there's nobody who plays at like a competitive level that doesn't have air roll left or air roll right. And so, yeah, I mean, these are they're really important. They're really useful. Like, you can't do this without air roll left, air roll right. And so if you're just trying to win at Platinum, hey, more power to you. Do what you want. But if you want to reach your mechanical ceiling, you got to pick one. Second big mistake I made, it was playing on unlimited FPS. So this is a little bit controversial, but me personally, I have found the best performance in my Rocket League on 240 FPS. Now, it's taken me many years to understand the effects of this. For me personally, I started playing Rocket League, okay? I started playing Rocket League on a laptop. When you're on a laptop, there's this interesting thing that happens. So if you, in theory, right, the purists will say you should uncap your FPS because that gives you unlimited upside, right? You could have 500 FPS, etc. And even if you only have a 240 FPS monitor, having 500 FPS is better in theory because it reduces your input lag still. So there's this number that appears at the top right of your Rocket League menu. Let me show you. So this is the performance menu, and you see this button that says frame. Well, it's at 4.17 if my FPS stabilize here. It's at about 4.17 if I play on 240 FPS, and I found that this is the most buttery for me when it comes to car control. And if you're on console, you will not get anywhere near this performance, which is, you know, we'll get to that in a second. But if I uncap this for a second, let me show you what this does. In theory, it's better because you'll see my frame go down to, oh, look, it's only 2. Like, so in theory, I'm getting 700 FPS, and this is the smoothest possible Rocket League experience you could ever have, right? Right, well, I've actually found that's not the case because, maybe it's just because I stream, but when I record, having this unlimited FPS actually pushes my GPU harder and it throttles me. So if I were to now turn on recording or turn on streaming while I'm recording, I find that I get worse performance. I get more frame dips. And so in theory, it's lower because now I'm on 2 frames instead of 2 frame delay instead of 4. I think that's milliseconds. I find my car control feels clunkier right now. And so maybe this is full placebo, but I find that 240 while I'm streaming kind of, yes, it puts me at 4 frame millisecond, but this is what all the pros play on stage. I believe it's 240. They may have upgraded monitors to 360, but the point is that I'm trying to make is that uncapped isn't always better. Number 3 setting mistake I made, playing on KBM. Playing on KBM, I'm gonna trigger my KBM users. I love you guys. This is not as bad as not using arrow left, arrow right, but it is limiting. There used to be some KBM pros like Yukio, who was on Dignitas in season 7, 8, 9 of EU RLCS, but now, and you know, people always will say like, oh, but what about Avampel? You know, Avampel plays KBM. And so there are exceptions where you can get mechanical, but it's undoubtedly limiting to be playing Rocket League on KBM. And there's a couple of reasons. The main reason people point out is because you don't get 8 corners access. So like, or you don't get access in between the 8 corners. So let me explain. The problem with these binds is you can only jump forward. You can jump, how should I say this? You can jump right, you can spin right, you can spin upright, you can spin back right. Okay, and so what I'm trying to show you is you have access to like sort of 8 directional inputs with your car. But with a controller, you could go up, right, or anywhere in between. You can go up, right, or anywhere in between. Okay, so that's one big aspect. You get like sort of more directions of movement because you can go true north. You could go like 15 degrees off north. You could go 20 degrees off north. Now you can go 45. And then you can go all the way down to 90. So you see I'm kind of like paging this left and right. You guys see this? So this has huge application because like to do a perfect speed flip, you want to be canceling between 15 and 30 degrees. And so this is why like there's workarounds to do speed flips on KBM. And I included KBM speed flips in my most recent tutorial. But to do a tick perfect speed flip, so many people don't know there are like many levels of a speed flip. To do a tick perfect, so think like a truly perfect input, you need a controller. Like, because the dodge angle is like something like 22 degrees or 21 degrees. And so once again, Rocket League purists correct me, but it's an advantage. So that's one big reason that having a joystick access is useful, because for your dodges, flip cancels, precise things, very important. The other thing that's important is the joysticks give you access to directional selection, but you have degrees of input. So here I'm pushing my joystick to the right, and you can hear the click. Listen. Here I'm pushing my joystick to the right, and you can hear the click. But what if you push your joystick just a little bit to the right and not hear the click? Well, that actually changes the input in Rocket League. And a great example of this that my pro coach Shock taught me, who's a coach of the Rocket League Bootcamp, my coaching company. He taught me that when you're tornado spinning, if you push your joystick to the barrier, your nose will pivot. My nose will pivot here when I'm holding arrow left and pushing my joystick to the right. That's tornado spin. It's going to pivot. It goes down, right, up, left, down, right, up, left, down. You see this? It will pivot more if you push your joystick to the barrier, so that's that clicking motion, than if I just push my joystick halfway. Look at how it pivots a little less. It still does pivot, but it doesn't pivot as much. So here I can do like a half tornado. Here I can do a full tornado. Show you half. I get a little pivot, max tilt. So this is very useful because when you're doing certain air dribbles, sometimes you will want like a little bit of a lift of your nose, but not a huge lift of your nose. Like to do these very precise speed flips and cancels and these movements, there is merit to having access to like degrees of control. This is not to mention things like the Zen method, like Zen, for the pro player, he has his air roll on his triggers, which give him like degrees of air roll. So rather than spinning or not spinning, he can select the speed at which he's spinning, which some argue gave him a mechanical edge. But what is certainly true is KBM is limited, not just in the directions you can push your joystick, but also in the degrees, because when you're using KBM and you're using WASD to control your movement, you're either tilting forward or you're not tilting forward. Whereas with a joystick, I can tilt forward at different speeds. Mistake number 2 that I made, playing with Xbox controller. Okay, before you cancel me, as I'm sure you're ready to do, Xbox players, I don't think Xboxes are as good. Controllers are as good for movement. And obviously playing on console is limiting. And so one thing that I didn't do, but that is absolutely limiting if you're unaware of, is playing on console. Not just for like not having access to workshop maps and PC plugins and Bacchus mod and all those things. Like there are training tools that are custom to PC, but also just the performance you get in ranked on a console is worse because you don't have a high hertz monitor usually, or if you have a high hertz monitor, you don't have low input lag, you don't have low performance. Rocket League, it's so important to have smooth, buttery gameplay. Like you put a GC3 with like a good setup against a pro with like 60 FPS and the GC3 will win. Because like having input delay in a reaction-based game is so awful. So it's really hard. And people who are in, like I talked to 2 students in the Rocket League Bootcamp who were like, Luke, I changed to PC because of you before I joined the bootcamp. Like we encourage people to switch to PC before they join the bootcamp. Like you can't do our one-on-one coaching experience if you're not on PC. Like we literally won't accept you. You can join the Clubhouse, but that's our group coaching for context, but you can't do the one-on-one with me and our team of pros because it's so limiting. Like it is so limiting. We tell people, get a PC before you buy coaching. Like the biggest bump you'll get is getting a PC before you pay for our coaching. And so take that how you will, but console is significantly inferior on a performance basis. Now, on the Xbox versus PS4 debate, I used to play. I have an Xbox controller up on my back wall. I don't see one, but I'm just gonna explain to you why PS4 is better. And humor me for a second. I'm gonna pull up some Liquipedia profiles. There are pros who use Xbox. Don't get me wrong, but the top ones, let's just pull up some big name. Chronic, playing on PS4. Shot Chronic, Nick Iwanski, Nush, playing on PS4, and Woopo, playing on PS4. Catalysm, German pro, playing on PS4. Atao, one of the best in the world, playing on PS4. Hoxer, NA pro, played with Shock, playing on PS4. To be honest, comment below, but I made a short about this and I didn't know the reason why a long time ago, and I still don't fully know the reason why, but PS4 is better and I felt the difference when I switched from PS4. Not to mention it's smaller, and as you know, I have small hands. Don't get any ideas, but it's better. It's just better. Trust me, bro. And last but not least, using Rizzo's controls. For those of you who don't know, Rizzo used to be a North American pro. He played on G2, which is, you know, now the NRG roster, or there was a switch in 2023 anyways. And Rizzo drove with his joystick. So he didn't have an accelerate or decelerate like with the triggers. But for my first 9 years of Rocket League, I accelerated and decelerated with my joystick. And I thought it was fine because I just learned how to do it, but I was severely limited without boost. When I was without boost, like I couldn't very quickly go from driving to decelerating and do like here I'm driving back. I used to not be able to like drive back into an air dribble. Like I just couldn't do it because my boost would propel me. I can't explain this, but you get the idea. So when I switched to normal drive and decelerate, which is like 99% of you are going, Luke, how could you, like, every time I tell people this in my private community, they're like, what? Like, how could you even make this work? I don't know. It's honestly, you know, maybe I would have been one of the greats if I didn't copy Rizzo, goddammit. But yeah, like I couldn't even do these like backward setups because of just how awful those controls are. If you're watching at this point in the video, you're probably like, well, there are a couple things that can happen. Maybe option A, you're like, I never made any of these mistakes. Luke, you're an idiot. In which case, I'm like, yeah, you're right. There's another group of you which is like, maybe some of these are a problem. I have some of these are a problem. And I'm not convinced I need to go learn them. Or, you know, maybe group 3 is like, holy crap, Luke, I have so many of my controls like yours. I'm playing on Xbox, I'm on a console, I'm playing on the wrong FPS. And you're like, maybe you're making all these errors. That's okay. I made them just one at a time over 10 years. If you need to fix these things, I made a video and I'll link it on screen. It's called How to Learn New Controls Faster. Whenever I tell students that they need to do this and I talk about my mistakes, they're like, Luke, I know my controls are bad. I just don't want to relearn it. It's going to be so painful. And on the one hand, you're right, it is painful. But on the other hand, I've had to relearn my controls 5 times. I've learned some ways to shortcut it and do it faster. So if you do need to relearn your controls, or you're maybe regretting your decisions, click the video on screen, how to learn new controls faster. I made this for a Rocket League Bootcamp member, which is our one-on-one coaching service. I made this for him specifically, and I was like, yeah, I'll just publish it for everybody. But yeah, I hope this helps. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully I saved you some pain, and I'll see you on the video on screen.